Hello everyone, and welcome to today's discussion of one of Flexera Software's most recent offerings, which takes a truly innovative yet comprehensive approach to dealing with one of IT's most vexing problems, software provisioning. Seems like it shouldn't be so hard, but as you'll see, there are many pain points associated with delivering software to end users. So today we're going to discuss how Flexera's app portal addresses the various pain points associated with that particular problem. And you're going to see how App Portal also packs plenty of ROI for your customers. My name is Don Grease. I am the Manager of Business Development and Vendor Programs here at Lifeboat Distribution, and we have been helping resellers solve their problems by offering Flexera's innovative line of software for many years now. And so it is once again a privilege for Lifeboat to host today's discussion, and I want to thank you all for attending. I know your time is valuable, so let me get right to the introduction of our main panelists. Joining me today from Flexera Software are Peter Burnham and Jerry King. Peter is the Global Manager for App Portal, and a lot of you are probably familiar with Jerry. Jerry King is the Channel Manager for the Americas for Flexera Software. Welcome to you both, guys. Now, just before we begin our discussion, we do want our audience, our loyal Lifeboat resellers, to know that we encourage you to ask questions, and the way you can do that is by entering them in the Q&A panel on the right-hand side of the screen. At the conclusion of the presentation, we are going to answer as many questions as time permits. We are also going to be popping up some polling questions along the way, so please answer as many of the poll questions as you can. And remember, we are also going to give away a $100 Amex gift card to one lucky attendee before we sign off. So with that, let's get the discussion started. And so Peter, Jerry, welcome. Again, it's a pleasure to have you guys here with us. I know, Jerry, you've done some webcasts with us in the past, but Peter, this is your first time. So I'm going to start off with a question to you. And, you know, just plainly speaking, I'm really excited to discuss App Portal with you. And my first question is, though, actually, what is it? Is it really exactly what it sounds like, an app store for business?
Yeah, Don, it is. Hi, this is Peter. So what we have is an app store for business, but it's really more than just an app store. Yes, end users can go to a website and they can browse for software and they can find software and have it delivered to them. Of course, we added on quite a bit of extra things like an automated approval process. So when someone comes to visit the app portal, and we'll see this in just a little bit, they get to see a catalog of choices that are appropriate for their role in the business. And then based on their role in the business and the selection that they've made, an appropriate workflow template comes into play. And that template has questions and answers on it so that the people who might be approving that request can make a good decision as to whether they should have whatever they requested. And then the delivery is ultimately achieved through Microsoft's systems management product called System Center Configuration Manager, or SCCM. So we're integrating with SCCM, or front-ending it if you want to think of it that way. So end users can see a catalog, make a selection, go through the appropriate approval, and then have SCCM delivered to their desktop.
Very interesting. What does App Portal actually have for a user interface? Is it like iTunes? Is it, but iTunes built for business?
Sort of. It's like iTunes. However, the display is a little bit different, and of course there's quite a bit going on in the background. The idea is that users can select from a list of applications appropriate for them, and then all the stuff, all the approval and the tracking of inventory and the delivery of the software and the checking of prerequisites, all that stuff gets done in the background and is invisible to the end user. They're just selecting items on the screen like you see here, from which the cost may or may not be might or might not be displayed. Our inventory position may or may not be displayed. The approval process may be exposed or not to them, and that's all set up by IT in advance. So the idea is that end users have the appearance and a great amount of control over their IT selections but it's all within a framework that IT is set up. And they can request not just software, but other IT services.
You know, that is such a cool idea. So if I'm the user and I need an application, just please walk me through the process of how it works. Do I just click and download? It seems like there must be some kind of checks and balances that ensure I only download applications that are relevant to my position. Is that right?
You're right. We're looking at their role in Active Directory to determine who they are, and then relate that to what they've asked for, and then work an appropriate approval process. It works, so they're just putting something in their shopping cart, no big deal. That's the part they see. The workflow behind it looks something like this. So for the proverbial Acme Corporation, all the end user's working with is this part, this top line right here. So they are looking at, I'm going to go backwards a couple slides here, they're looking at this right here, App Portal website. And then they're seeing selections that are appropriate for their role in the business. So finance people don't see engineering apps, engineering people don't see finance apps, but certain applications, of course, are visible to everybody, like, say, Microsoft Office. They put that in their cart, and then they work through an approval process. Now, I happen to have BMC's remedy system on here, but it really doesn't matter what help desk system the enterprise might be using. They virtually all have APIs or SDKs that we can work with so that we can actually open and close support tickets in the help desk without a human having to interact with the ticket. So unbeknownst to the end user who's making a request for a piece of software, it's acting as if they called the help desk and had a ticket made for them. But the cool thing is nobody had to do that. The portal's doing it for them. It's the glue that's hanging together all these different systems of SCCM and their inventory system and their help desk system. So they've made a request. They'll receive an email notification. We've actually made it so that they are receiving emails, and this is where it's a little bit different from iTunes, and it's a little bit more like a travel website. So end users will receive an email that says, hey, we've got your request, just like you do from a travel website. You've not been ticketed yet, but I've got your request. And then you know how on a travel website about 10 minutes later you get that email saying, yep, you've been ticketed, here's your ticket number?
Yeah, exactly.
We do the same thing. So they're getting that constant reassurance, and what this is doing is cutting way, way, way down on the help desk calls that are coming in because these tickets are being opened and closed automatically, or they're being modified in case there's a failure and a human does have to get involved. So they've submitted their request, they've received a reassuring email, then it's off to typically their boss. You know, some things require approval, some things don't. Some things require approval of just your supervisor, and some require your supervisor plus someone else, or someone else and someone else. So those various approval templates are built in, and again, they're a function of who you are and what you've asked for. So it goes through the approval process, and it's either approved or declined. If it's rejected, they're going to get an email notification saying, sorry, you've been rejected, blah, blah, approver says. These are all variable field emails that are pre-templated. So-and-so approval says you can't have it. And then we close that ticket in remedy, and not a single human has interacted with this thing other than the person who said no and the person who made the request. If it's approved, then it's off to SCCM, and SCCM has the concept of packaging for installation and for uninstallation. So in this case, it's installation, and the product gets delivered to their desktop according to the packaging instructions. If it's successful, they'll receive an email notification. If it fails, and this is really neat, we're plugged into the SCCM status messaging so we can take actions on positive or negative statuses. So if we receive an installation failure back from SCCM, bam, we're firing off an email to that end user saying, hey, something went wrong. We're changing the ticket status to failure so that then someone from the help desk is contacting that person, figuring out what they need to do, whether it's a desk side visit or their computer's tangled up or whatever it might be. Make sense?
Yeah, that's amazing. That really, that's so cool. So now that we sort of see how this works and what it looks like, can you compare and contrast the App Portal process for delivering software applications to users to the methods that are most commonly used today and highlight the advantages of App Portal for us?
Sure, I can absolutely do that. And let's just start with the problem. So what happens today is if I want a piece of software in my company within Flexera, in absence of the App Portal, I have to actually go into our help desk request system, and I'm a remote worker, so I have to do it through a VPN, and then someone has to read what I've written, and it's all, for the most part, either a manual process or for things that are packaged, maybe they'll use SCCM to do it, but generally not. So the problem is these enterprise software customers and their employers, meaning the end users and their employers, spend way too much time and money seeking software and trying to just figure out what the process is to even get software. Then they've got to try and select it. They don't know what the choices are. They don't know what the costs are. Can you remember the old days before travel websites? When you wanted to get a ticket, you called a travel agent, but you didn't know, what are my choices? What are the prices? You couldn't make your decisions with regard to schedule versus price versus airline versus convenience. None of that. You just had to take what you got. It's exactly the same way here. I can see that there's multiple choices for doing PDFs. I can see that some cost nothing, some cost quite a bit. I can see that some I need approval, some I don't. So I can make better choices because this is all exposed to me as an end user. In absence of that, it's all guesswork. And then obtaining approval. I could tell you in most companies, no one has any idea what's required. I'll just ask my boss. And then that person potentially doesn't know what's required because every enterprise is in the business of doing its business. It's not in the business of figuring out how to get rid of software, how to get software, how to approve software, how to pay for it, how to buy it. All that stuff is foreign to the majority of users. It may not seem that way to us who are in the software business, but you know, some stockbroker at Dean Weber has no idea. And then they're waiting for delivery and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. And it might be desk site visits. Any number of things can take place, but it always takes time, both for the approval and for the actual action. And then tracking software assets, another big nuisance, and we do that too. And retiring software assets. Most companies don't do it. They just keep on buying net new, net new, net new, and throw licenses away. And there's quite a bit of money available for that. And then repurposing them. Virtually none do that. And if they do, it's on a very heavy manual way, whereas we're just handling it constantly. And then operating system deployments and doing the app migration from one computer to another. Just because you lay down someone's new operating system doesn't mean you've gotten all their applications pushed across. The support for XP goes away in about 300 days. And believe it or not, a lot of these enterprises we're dealing with still don't have that done. So we can help them through the portal to have their end users get their new operating system laid down, get their applications transferred across, and get it all scheduled at their convenience.
Wow, that covers an awful lot. Amazing. So to summarize, though, it sounds like it would be fair to say that with App Portal, you're offering users the something that they're used to seeing and the advantages of a self-service app store while maintaining complete control over the request, the approval, and the fulfillment process. Does that about cover it?
It does. It does. And again, if you're an end user, your vision into how am I going to get software is something like this crazy, confusing chart right here. You just don't know. You have no idea what to do. And then, if you're using the portal, of course, it becomes much more simple and more like this.
Very cool. Okay. Peter, can you tell our audience how the App Portal complements other Flexera solutions so that we can learn how to talk to current Flexera customers about how to integrate App Portal in a way that maximizes the investment in the customer's existing Flexera solutions?
Yes, I can. These other Flexera offerings are very complementary, although they're not required, so don't feel like we're pushing people into a box here. I think everyone on the phone is already familiar with the FlexNet Manager platform, and they're already familiar with Admin Studio. So the FlexNet Manager integrates both with SCCM and Admin Studio integrates with SCCM. I need to get through some of these arrows. There we go. And then packaging gets done in SCCM, or gets done in Admin Studio and thrown into SCCM, excuse me. And also Admin Studio is capable of sending that same packaging off to the portal website sending that packaging off to the portal website so that that same packaging you just did for SCCM is also exposed in the app portal website. Then during this approval process, if you've set up your approval templates to work this way, it can check to see in the FlexNet Manager if licenses are available. Now, you may or may not want to deliver. Some customers say, nope, I don't want to deliver, or some IT groups say, I don't want to deliver unless I have the license in stock. Others don't care. They'll go ahead and deliver it anyway, and they'll true up with you later on. In reality, they run it both ways. Some think they want to deliver, some think they don't, some they want to true up, some they want to buy right away. So at the end of the day, we're hanging all these things together of Admin Studio and the FlexNet Manager program and SCCM and email and their help desk. And we're not forcing changes upon any of these customers. We're just putting the portal in and integrating it deeply, deeply, deeply with these 5 platforms, 3 of which being Microsoft, 2 of which being ours.
Okay, that seems really smart. It seems like a great way for our resellers who sell Flexera and are familiar with FlexNet Manager and Admin Studio to really go back and have conversations and see if they can go a bit deeper by offering App Portal to their customers. But along with that, then, what are the environment concerns for App Portal? Do you need a specific environment in order for App Portal to work?
Yes. Today, you need to have SCCM, either version 2007 or 2012, running any release that's still supported by Microsoft. And then within your SCCM environment, you need to have the items that you intend to put in the catalog packaged for both installation and uninstallation. And there's a configuration guide that goes through the details. But the cool part is the consumer, the end user, the enterprise IT department doesn't need to spend any additional money beyond that which they're spending for the App Portal and some install consulting. They don't have to buy additional hardware. They don't have to buy additional software. They don't even have to install any client agents because the portal works entirely through Internet Explorer. There's no client agent that needs to be installed. Everything we do is levering off of the existing SCCM client, which is on all the desktops, or off the SCCM SQL database, which they already have. And then within that, we're using software inventory, hardware inventory, software metering, all those things that SCCM does that people don't always do as much with it as they could. We make it so it's usable and projected out to the end user. So we're utilizing your investment in SCCM 07 or 2012 without asking you to spend more money or make you change your environment.
Okay, good, good. So now that we have an understanding of App Portal and how it integrates with other Flexera products and we understand what the environmental requirements are, let's dig into how to identify good App Portal opportunities. So how do you do it? How can you tell us to identify an App Portal target?
Let's start with the easy first. Sometimes you just ask. There's companies, right now portals are hot. Everybody wants one because it lowers your IT help desk spending by lowering the number of calls that come through it, and because it lets you do or have a more efficient use of your SCCM system and your very expensive software assets. So the first and primary targets, believe it or not, you just ask people, do you have a project to install an IT services portal? Some will call it an IT services portal, some will call it a self-service portal, some will call it an applications portal. It doesn't matter. All they're trying to do is that end-user website that in turn makes things happen that deliver IT services. So those are your first and foremost. And the people you want to hit usually are those who have SCCM, of course, and have usually more than a couple of thousand managed systems, because they have a bigger problem. And they've already demonstrated they're trying to do something about it because they have SCCM and they're running a managed systems environment. Also, a lot of them are looking to reclaim unused applications, but they don't know how to do it. So that would be another thing that would trigger in your head. And then who you're going to hear this from, it's usually the same three people. The SCCM admin is a primary. The manager of desktop support is another primary. Software asset management people, less so, but only because they're not aware of it. They're very, very interested once they've seen it. And then some companies have these new products, new ideas people, they're always worth hitting. And you'll find that 20% of the prospects will already have something. It might be from us, it might be from someone else, but most of the time it's homegrown, and most of the time they're sick of managing it. And they want an off-the-shelf solution that's highly configurable, that integrates with all the stuff they already have, and that's us.
Okay. Sounds like a good plan to identify targets. Can you give us a few key questions to ask customers to help us identify app portal opportunities?
Yes. First and foremost, do you have SCCM? If they don't, there's not a lot we can do. Really, there's not anything we can do. Although we are moving towards another possibility, and that's Symantec. So we'll have a release for Symantec's client access managers sometime over the summer. So those of you who have people who want a portal technology and they have Symantec instead of SCCM, we can help you soon, and they're worth talking to right away. Another thing to ask people is, it's funny, a lot of people have SCCM, but they're using it more for patching or hardware inventory. They're not using it for software delivery, and it's important that they actually have used or plan to use SCCM for software delivery. And once they've gotten over that hurdle, it's pretty easy. Also, this is a good question to ask, which is, are your end users admins on their machines or not? And there's no one right answer to this, and generally it's both. But here's the two opposite ends of the spectrum. Some companies, end users are admins on their machines, and it's the Wild West when it comes to software asset management and requesting and approving. People are going to Best Buy and buying software and throwing it on their machines, which, by the way, doesn't count towards their volume license, and they have no idea what's happening. So that's your first question. Are your end users admins on their machines or not? Then others will say, nope, it's locked down. No one's an admin on their machine. So those guys have an IT help desk that's swamped. If they don't have some kind of a portal, their IT people are picking away. It's like a rock pile. And they're getting 20% of their requests are people looking for software, looking to repair their software, or wondering where their software went. And so those are very good candidates because those lockdown people can't install anything. Another good question is just find out the status on their Win 7 upgrade. And then just, again, ask them, do you have a project where you're looking to automate your request process, approval, delivery, tracking? They say yes to any of those things, they're worth a chat. Okay?
Excellent. Very good. So now let's shift gears a little bit because customers love their ROI on their projects. Is there any way to accurately calculate ROI for a customer interested in that portal?
There is. We have a very simple spreadsheet that really you just have to ask them for a few metrics, and then we can apply an ROI. And the ROI points we're looking for, it's really 3 savings points. One of them is the time it takes end users to request software today through whatever process the enterprise has. Then whatever time the IT department has to process software requests and do asset tracking. So those are 2 sections, and we've got a list of questions that you can ask. And then the other ones have to do with software reclaim. And this is where the really big number is, and it's the more exciting one usually. You just ask them, what are the 5 applications that you have installed that you most suspect of being over-purchased and underutilized? And this is where you come off as really sounding more like a consultant than a software distributor. You find out what those titles are, what they're paying for them, how many of them they own, how many of them are installed, and how many of them are not being used. And all that can be obtained through SCCM today without owning the app portal. The app portal displays it all much better, but it's in there. They just have to be able to extract it. If you can get solid numbers, what you'll end up with is a graph that looks kind of like this one. So this, I don't know if you can see my mouse, but this red line towards the bottom, that's the cost curve, and it's got a little bump up for annual maintenance every year. This particular customer did a one-time recovery of 3 applications and nearly paid for their app portal system right off, on installation day. Then we've got the help desk savings plotted here, where we're taking normally it's 30 minutes of help desk time at whatever, $60 an hour, whatever it might be, and they're processing so many hundred requests per week. There's your plot line. And users have the same thing. There's their plot line. Only they cost more or take longer. And then those 2 plot lines put together put you here on the purple one, and then if you add that on top of that initial reclaim they did, it's here. And this is actually a conservative approach because I'm only showing this with reclaim done once instead of the ongoing cycle that it can be. So there's your ROI.
Right. That's a lot of ROI. That's a good story to tell when you're trying to position this, right?
Yes, it is, Don. And we have customers who will testify to this, to your customers.
That's outstanding. Okay, so Jerry, you still with us, buddy?
I am.
All right, I got a couple of questions for you now.
Sure.
Because we're going to talk about something that's really great for our great lifeboat resellers who are attending today and maybe thinking, this sounds really great, I'm anxious to get out there and start talking this up with my customers, but can I really make money selling App Portal, and what do you want them to know about that question?
Right. Very good points. And just to let everybody on the phone know, or on the line rather, my name is Jerry King. I am the channel sales manager for Flexera for the Americas. So if ever you have a question about anything, you pick up the phone, you give me a call. I'm the guy to consider the point of contact. So, Don, I suppose the big question here that your reseller partners are thinking is, well, this is all great. It does a lot of great things, but what's in it for me? Well, as you can probably gauge from Peter's great description of what the product does, I mean, it's a pretty serious solution. It can accomplish so many things. First and foremost, you're not just talking about a single solution to meet your customers' needs. You're talking about being able to grow your business with the market. What we're seeing here is there are a number of trends in both areas that App Portal really addresses, which is managing assets and improving a company's workflow. So again, this is a solution that meets both of those. As far as, I'm trying to advance here, as far as improving upon what the solution can do for you, the end user, or I should say the reseller, keep in mind that, meeting market trends, very important. You certainly want to be on top of and in front of those market trends. You definitely want to build that relationship with your customer base, letting them know that you're on top of things, that you have a cool handle on what it is that's taking place out there and what it is that's available to the end users as a solution to better their circumstances. The relationship that you have with your customers here is probably the single biggest thing. There's any number of ways to ingratiate yourself to your customers, but I think everyone on the line here knows that the best way to do that is to provide your customers with the best service that's available to them. And by doing so, you want to lead with products that are going to make their lives easier. That's what App Portal does. It allows you to assume that position of trusted advisor, and in doing so, you're building that relationship with your customers. And I think everyone, again, on the line knows that that's really the way to set yourself apart from anybody else that's out there. The other thing that's really interesting to take note of here is App Portal isn't just a solution for your customers. It's a solution that also allows you to get inside and closer with your customers. And what I mean by that is we're talking about being closer on an organizational standpoint. Of course, any reseller, any good reseller out there wants to have their customers return to them time and time again. They want to, well, for lack of a better term, have their customers see them as an extension of their procurement arm. And this is exactly what leading with App Portal can do. App Portal is that sort of solution that you can present to your customers, solve problems of asset management, solve problems of workflow structure, but also you're giving them something that will allow them to come back to you. In essence, you're allowing them, you're giving them a line or a solution that will allow them to, lead back to you. If you're the one that's leading in to the customer with the solution, and it's set up there, and you've given them the structure, it's almost like embedding yourself in that structure for the procurement process. So I think that's one of the big things to keep in mind here. This is the kind of solution that will allow you, the reseller, to build not only that trust with your customer, but also build a structure by which they'll return to you.
Those are great points, Jerry, and that's a great way to think about the opportunity that App Portal represents to our resellers. So we're getting towards the end here with the questions. I just want to remind the attendees that if you have your own questions, please feel free to enter those in the chat area, and we'll be more than happy to get to those once we wrap up here in a couple minutes. So back to you, Jerry. We seem to have this unique technology to address many points our customers have in the area of delivering software applications to end users, and we can make good money and really grow our footprint within our customer accounts by integrating App Portal. But as a reseller, am I on my own? What kind of sales and marketing support is available, and what about training for this product?
Sure. So in terms of collateral, we have all the standard collateral out there. Our Flexera website is filled with a number of things that you can download and provide to your customers: white papers, webinars, success stories, data sheets, things such as that. And of course, if ever you have any questions out there, or if you have a customer that comes to mind that you think can really benefit from taking a closer look at this, pick up the phone, give me a call. I mean, that's the whole reason why I'm here. It's to facilitate the flow of knowledge. Flexera's channel is set up in such a way where we're more than happy to provide additional training, sort of one-on-one webinars to your customers and demonstrations. But we're also here to make this an easy process of selling a product to a customer. You don't need to be fully fluent in the scope of App Portal in order to sell it. I mean, that's the whole reason why I'm here and my SEs are here. Pick up the phone, give me a call. Let us do all the heavy lifting. All we need from a reseller is to have them sort of come to us with a customer that has an interest in solving some of these problems that they're faced with.
See, that's excellent. There you go, folks. If you can just position this solution to your customers, and your customers have this problem, you're almost halfway home. Because, speaking from experience, Jerry is there, and he will plug in the resources that you need to help you, drive this home and get yourself a deal and make some money selling this product. So that's terrific. Last question, I think we're kind of going back to you now, Peter, with this one, is what are a few of the major benefits that you would like the attendees here today to remember about App Portal?
Sure, Don. There's three. It's a self-service ability for end users, which is reducing your help desk calls. That's number one. Number two, automated license reclaim and repurpose. We're eliminating wasted software spend I have multiple customers who will testify to a 10x ROI on their first pass. And the last one, operating system install. This is looming. It's imminent. There's 305 days left till XP support goes away. These enterprises have got to get this done. Laying down the software is no big deal. Getting the end user state migrated, that, my friend, is a big deal, and the app portal can handle it for you. So those are your biggies: self-service, automated license reclaim, operating install with app migration.
Okay, well, there you go. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is, our discussion on App Portal. It's your turn now. If you have any questions, please feel free to pop them in. What I am going to do at the moment, while we wait to see if you guys have some questions for us, is I did promise you that we would give away a $100 Amex gift card. One last thing. Peter has been gracious enough to offer to run a quick demo of the software. So once we get through the entire webcast here, if you would like to hang on the line and see a demo of the product, just shoot me a quick note through the chat panel. Just say, yeah, I'm in, or, I'm going to stay. Just get me a quick note in the chat panel, and if anyone is interested, we will hang on and we will see a demo of the product. Now, moving on to the $100 Amex gift card that we give away at our webcasts. The winner for today's gift card is Joan Teller from E+ Technology. So, Joan, congratulations. We will send that gift card out to you presently. Thank you so much for attending, and thank you everybody for attending. All right. Let's see here if we have any questions. We have Taker on the demo, so that's wonderful. Appreciate that. I will get into my own call to action, which we do traditionally at the end of our webcasts. Jerry already told you how to access a lot of great resources on the Flexera website. I want to remind you, too, that you can contact your Lifeboat sales executive here. They are here every day to help you, whether you need pricing, whether you need to schedule a conference call or perhaps a deep dive demo of the product. But we're here to help you with any opportunity that comes along. For anybody who is leaving, then at this time I would like to thank you for attending, and for everybody at Flexera and at Lifeboat Distribution. Your participation has been appreciated, and thanks very much. I am now going to give the presentation back over to Peter, and let Peter share his desktop and run the demo for us. All right, Peter, you can take it away. It's all yours.
Thanks, Don. Just give me a moment here to switch what I'm displaying. This is always a little bit of a trick. And let's see here. Right, so
you just need to go to that share menu at the top of the screen there.
There we go. Thank you. All right, so share, application. And you'll have to let me know if this is mirroring out okay.
Okay. There you go. You got it.
All right. And it's, I don't want that. I want the one that's underneath it, which is full screen. Okay, hang on. Just take me a second.
Mm-hmm.
There. Okay. So remember when Jerry was talking about being closer to your customers and the inventory end of it? Here, let me go full screen. There. Can you see that better now? Is that okay?
Yes, that's really good.
Okay, good. All right, so this information has all been extracted on an instant basis from SCCM, either from the database or from the clients. So this is showing how many copies an end user owns, how many are used, which is actually what's installed, not necessarily that they're using it or not. And then this utilization rate is also exposed. What's interesting here is we know that these guys need to buy more Acrobat Pro, and we know they're getting close on Creative Suite 3. And all these thresholds are set on installation. What's also interesting is that the consumer can run a reclaim campaign against the people who aren't utilizing it. So it looks like they have 94 who are out of 115 who are actually installed. So they can make a reclaim of, what would that be, 11 units. So that would give them a remaining of 9 plus 7 of 30. This one, they're going to need to make a buy. I mean, even if they make a reclaim here, it's going to be close. So the idea is that this information is available and visible, and your consumer has complete control over what's going on. Now, I know that there's software distribution companies that have this, but they're typically not tied in with SCCM. And it's that tie-in to SCCM is what makes all this work. And it's that exposure out to the end user that makes it all work. And it's that tie-in with email for all the communications that makes this all work. Just having a list of software inventory and what you own and what you have installed and what you've used isn't really enough. So now let's look at the end user's perspective of this for just a moment. Right now I'm logged in as an administrator, but what we'll do is log in as an end user, and we'll log in as a manager, and we'll see each person's interaction with the portal and what that looks like. So this part you're about to see is not part of the software. It's just something we've done to make it demonstratable. So the idea here is that we have an organizational structure, and we have two people we're going to work with. One is Randy Potts, who's in rank and file end user in the sales department, and then we have Sonia, who's a manager of Randy. So first we'll launch off as Randy. I apologize for this delay. It takes a little bit for my computer to catch up on all these things. There, okay. So for a company, this is completely customizable. So the logo, the style sheet, what happens on the splash screen is all customizable. Right now, we're Randy, and notice that I have less tabs here. Remember, the administrator had a whole bunch of tabs. So everybody uses the same thing. There's just different visibility for different people. So if I'm Randy and I want to get a copy of Adobe Creative Suite, I can search. I can look at them based on ratings of people. I might be exposed to the cost or not, and I can tell which things require approval and which things don't. Again, forgive me on the time. If this wasn't a hosted thing, if it's internal, it's instantaneous. There we go. So Adobe Creative Suite is going to cost me $637. It does require approval. End users are rated a 4 out of 5, and a license is required. Hopefully you can see all those pop-ups.
Yeah.
So all I have to do, oh good, all right. And it looks like we've got 20 or so people still watching. That's great. So I toss that into my cart, and then I check out. And before I do so, I'm going to be asked some questions. So there's an approval process that works from left to right. And that approval process is a function of who I am, Randy Potts, and what I've asked for, Creative Suite. And so it's going to ask me things like, what's my budget code? Why do I need the product? Maybe it'll ask me what alternatives I've thought of using. And then it takes all that information, bundles it up, and sends it on off to my manager. So I'm going to check out. And if this doesn't speed up, I'm going to have to probably send everybody who's watching a recording because this is, for some odd reason, very slow. There we go. Okay, so the approval process works from left to right. Target, what machine are you targeting? Well, Randy doesn't get to target machines because he's not in the help desk. But if he was, he could target machine names. The first thing I'm asked is, what do I want for a schedule? Do I want it automatically after approval? Or do I want to be notified after approval so I don't get interrupted? And I hit next. And then I'm going to get asked some questions. What's my business case? Do I accept the EULA, which can link out to external sites or intranet sites within your company? Sure, I accept it. I could check it if I clicked here, but we want to go quickly today. And then what's my cost center? Now, all these questions, they can be mandatory, they can be optional, they can be pre-populated, they can be drop-downs, they can be validated fields, they can be free type like this. All these things are possible within the App Portal approval template system, and you don't have to do it for every package you put in the portal. Usually 4 or 5 templates will handle 90+% of all of your approval needs, which your approval needs will run from no approval required all the way up through, you need the CIO to sign off. And then I complete my request and I'm done. Now if I'm Randy, we're going to not look at my status. We're just going to continue shopping, and I'm going to ask for something that doesn't require any kind of approval. So let's see, there was an HR one which is not exposed. Let me find one. There, okay, so 7-zip. Look at that. No license required, no approval required. I put it in my cart. There's one click. I check out, and the only question I'm asked, oh, it doesn't even ask me when I want it. It's just going to do it. Boom. So there's my 3rd click. That's all you have to do. And if we had time, I'd look over here at the emails, and we can see all the reminders and things that are coming at him. So if I view status, again, I'm still Randy. It's going to take me over to my request tab, and there's my 2 current requests right now. The one for 7-zip, which is pending deployment from SCCM, and the one for Acrobat, which is probably pending my manager's approval. Yep. So Don, do you want to take the time to log in as a manager and approve a request, or is this enough of a flavor so people can see what we're doing?
I think let's take a peek at the manager approval. Let's do one.
Okay. All right. So we'll log in as Sonia. Hopefully this will go in a speedy manner. Oh, look, now it's cooking. Great. All right. So let's go. We'll go big with Sonia. There we go. Is that sizing okay, Don? You can see it?
Yep, that's good.
All right. So I am Sonia Cortez now. Note that I also have a limited number of tabs. However, I have some additional ones. I have an Approve Reject tab. Now, as Sonia, I will have received an email, and we can look at it if we have time, that says, Randy Potts has asked you if it's okay if he has a copy of Creative Suite 3. And that comes into your phone, or it comes into your PC, or however it comes. And within that email, there's 3 links. Approve, deny, or come back to the portal. If I come back to the portal, I'm going to see this. So this is a list of all the people who have made requests whose approval path involves me, Sonia. So here's the request from Randy for Creative Suite, and I can see the questions and answers that he put out there, and I can make a decision. All right, this is my case, an excellent case, and I know that Randy's involved in a project and he's going to need Creative Suite, so that's all fine with me. So I go ahead and click it once, click it twice, and approve. That's it. So now Randy's receiving, remember Randy said I don't want it installed right away. I want to be notified when it's installed or when it's approved. So now Randy's getting an email saying, hey, your requests are approved. When would you like that to happen? And a date time picker comes up so he can have it installed. One other thing I'd like to show before we go is within the admin section. Remember that whole part about the help desk, Don?
Yes.
So we can open and close tickets. So here's how that goes. So now we're an administrator. This is the part that only admins see. And there's levels of security and secrecy in here too, but we won't bother with that. This is just an admin who can see everything. So if I go to catalog management, current catalog items, Adobe. So this is the administrator's view into all the catalog selections. These IDs along here, all they are is the SCCM package IDs. So all we're doing is associating SCCM packages to end user and approver behaviors that are required to cause that install package to fire off. It's really as simple as that. So if I look at the one here for Adobe Creative Suite, and I'll double click on it, you're about to see a bewildering amount of tabs and selections and buttons. Don't worry about it. You only have to go through those 4 or 5 times because they're templatable right here. Here's your question template. Here's your approval template. So once you've done that bewildering process with us at your side 4 or 5 times, then you can simply apply templates to package IDs, and you're done. You've got a catalog up and running. We can install this thing in about an hour. We can do a configuration in about 2 hours with you and your consumer watching, and everybody's happy. And because there's no client to install, you're not apt to get a lot of resistance from security types who will tell you, oh, you know, we're not going to let another client on our PCs, and that's understandable. I understand why they feel that way. In this case, you're using the administrative rights of an SCCM person. In effect, the portal's acting like an SCCM administrator and filtering those rights out to end users. So back to the help desk. If I go here to actions, and that's the actions related to Adobe Creative Suite. These are the points at which we can interact with outside systems like help desk systems. So right here on submit, that's when I'm going to open a support ticket. And on success, that's when I'm going to close that support ticket. Or if I get a failed install notice from the SCCM status messaging, I'm going to modify a ticket or open a ticket, depending on how we decided to set up that template. So there you go, man.
That's beautiful. I appreciate you taking the time to run that demo for us to really drive home, you know, just the comprehensive solution that App Portal represents to customers who have to deliver software to their end users. So thank you, Peter. And thank you, everybody who attended today. If you have any questions at all, as Jerry said, feel free to reach out to Jerry. He's always available to help. Reach out to your Lifeboat sales rep. We're always here to help. We look forward to hopefully speaking with you soon. But for now, we're going to say goodbye, and thanks one last time for being here with us today. Best of luck selling Flexera App Portal, and let us know how it goes. Goodbye, everybody.
Thanks, Don.